Hey, Dan, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Good to see you too.
I'm glad that we have a chance to sit down and review everything. If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you can kind of walk through your name and where your business is located and where you're doing most of your transactions.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Dan Hillman. I'm a real estate agent in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Pretty much all my business is here in Colorado Springs. Do a little bit up in the mountains, but mostly here in town.
And just for the sake of the people watching, you've been licensed in the business for how long?
4 years.
Why don't you walk us through a little bit what your situation was like before we partnered together?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been an agent for 4 years, and I've tried out kind of different options for lead generation and stuff like that, and ended up with a database of a little over 700 of online leads that I had. And I'd done some follow up with them, but honestly, some of the leads had gotten a little bit stale. And yeah, found out about Mason and this really cool AI bot that he had to be able to call back through leads. And so was hoping to, I knew there was some business in that database, but didn't have the time to go through it all myself. And so this was a really cool opportunity to find some business in there.
Yeah, and I think that's something that a lot of agents can relate to, especially depending on how they handle their sales and their follow-ups, or how many leads they're generating, or how long they've been in the business. Every now and then you start collecting this, what could be a gold mine behind the scenes, and you don't really realize. A lot of agents are always thinking, I need to go get a new lead, I need to get a new lead, but the gold you may be looking for, the transactions you may be looking for, may already be right under your feet, you know? So I'm curious, prior to us actually getting started, how did you feel? I mean, what was your thought process, and what were you trying to achieve when you realized you were sitting on a database of 700 plus people?
I mean, I was spending time every couple of weeks calling through it, but it's just, I mean, calling through old leads is kind of the worst, and you either get hung up on a lot or occasionally yelled at. And yeah, I don't know, cold calls are kind of like the worst part of being an agent sometimes. And so I was hoping to find extra business in there, just to add a couple more deals to my pipeline. And so anytime things kind of felt slow, I'd go back to that database and start calling through.
Gotcha. And you're not alone. I agree with you completely. Cold calling and all that type of stuff, or calling the old database over and over, and especially if you're getting no's, is not a fun thing. And I know that's something the agents watching can relate to. So I wanted to ask, obviously, after we connected, I gave you a bit of an idea about how we could leverage that database for you, reach out to people on your behalf, to actually try to get them booked on the calendar, at a bare minimum, get a bunch of updates. So, going forward, who you need to contact in the database, who not to contact, you have some appointments on your calendar, that type of thing. Now, when we initially talked about it though, did you have any doubts, any worries? You had mentioned working with some other lead gen services in the past. I know a lot of agents do. They try their services, things don't work out. That can kind of make you become a little jaded, I guess you could say, in terms of future opportunity, even if there is a good opportunity in front of you. So I'm curious about that. And then secondly, I'm wondering what made you want to pull the trigger anyway and try it out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was super skeptical going in. I get 2 or 3 texts every day from some random person offering deals or extra leads or something like that. And so I think as agents, we get berated with those all the time. So it's hard to know which ones are going to be legitimate or not. I did a lead gen thing 2 years ago that ended up being like a scam. The guy ended up just running with a bunch of people's money. So I was pretty hesitant about it. I think part of what sold me was I don't actually know how we ended up becoming friends online.
But on Facebook, yeah. It was a little more organic than what you're speaking about with the other agents. And
so, I mean, I'd seen you advertising some of your stuff in the past on Facebook, and you'd been doing it for a long time, and it seemed trustworthy. And then your results seemed to speak for themselves, that you were able to get some great conversion from people's databases. And so I was pretty excited about the idea of trying it out.
Well, I appreciate the kind words, and certainly appreciate the trust. A lot of agents' eyes are set on generating new leads, which we've done for years, since 2018 as well. So plenty of experience with that. But I love when somebody like you comes in and is like, hey, I want to squeeze as much out of the sponge of what I already have first, and then we can start generating new stuff. So the fact that you came in with the trust too, despite the past experience, of course, was appreciated, because it allowed us to do our job effectively too. So that being said, I know we were able to get some appointment bookings. We were able to definitely figure out there was, at least 50 people in there that gave us quality updates on, so you know how to go forward from here. So now that we've had a chance to do everything, I mean, how do you feel now, and what positive impact do you feel it had on either you or the follow-ups you were doing or your business in general?
Yeah. I mean, I was super impressed by, the amount of calls that you guys were able to, or answers that actually happened. I think out of the 650 names that ended up being in the database, I think 200 people answered, which is kind of wild. And then of those, it was 50 people gave updates, which was awesome. So it's just, it was great to know that, hey, these 50 leads either are potential clients or definitely not. And then you set 2 appointments too, which is really amazing.
Yeah, I want to clarify for the folks watching too, it was in a period of only about 7 days. So, if this is something somebody's doing long term, there's a lot of opportunity there. And we had also touched on a little bit, I think you had at least one person that was added to MLS, and a couple other appointment bookings. If you would maybe mind talking a little bit about that as well.
Yeah. So I think there were 2 actual appointments booked. One person wanted to be set up on a search, and then I think there were a few other people that were still kind of on the fence, but they weren't looking now. It's questions about financing and stuff like that. So yeah, really especially for just 7 days of calls, it was pretty impressive.
Was it one of the appointment bookings is working with you now, is still actively having conversations with you to progress?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we're still working on their financing and making sure it's going to work out, but yeah, we're still in conversations and potentially moving forward.
Awesome. Not bad.
Yeah.
And all for the cost of about the 7 days equates to about $50 an appointment or something like that. Not too bad if you get a new client in closing, especially out there
Right.
in Colorado Springs with the price of homes. I am fairly convinced that you'll be able to pull a couple more transactions out of that with people that haven't signed yet.
Yeah.
I really hope to see it. So awesome. Obviously, super happy to have you here. Super happy to see the results. I think we were both surprised to a certain degree on the results that we got from it, considering not because of the number of leads, but more so the age of the leads. So that was incredible to see. I'm happy that you're happy. And the last question that I have for you, if there was somebody else that has had those other bad experiences with people, maybe they do find themselves a bit jaded, or they're getting barraged with messages constantly and they're kind of on the fence, but they know they want to grow. They know they either have leads they're sitting on like you were, or want to generate new leads. What would you say to that agent?
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand like their hesitancy, and I think I don't know, it's great to be able to just like connect with you and like you're a real person and it's not just some like random online thing. And so being able to talk to a real person, and you gave clear expectations about what you would provide and where all the costs were. I didn't feel like there was anything hidden or sketchy or anything like that. And so I think that helped a lot. And so I would say, yeah, especially if somebody has like an old database of leads that they don't have the time or energy to go back through, like this is absolutely worth it. Like at the end of the day, like, yeah, the cost for appointment is, I don't think you can really beat that. $50 for appointment is kind of crazy.
I appreciate that. And again, happy that you're happy. And I appreciate the time that you've taken, the 5 minutes or so here to share with everybody else, because especially when it comes to agents that have had the experience you have in the past, it goes a long way for them to hear from other agents, to know there's still hope. There are other programs out there and things that work in other avenues. Not everybody is necessarily out there to, pull one over on you, as long as you're connected with the right people. So I appreciate you sharing your experience with everybody, for them as a learning lesson, and also to empower them a little bit more. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we go?
No, I think that's it. Yeah, thanks.
Awesome, Dan. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
No problem.